Okay, so back to the video and what he was talking about. My story is retention. So the NCO would come to me and say, we need to get rid of this dirt bag. Let him go. Don't worry about retention. My question was, did he get through AIT? Did he get through basic training? Where did he go to basic training? Went to Fort Benning, Georgia. I said that's the absolute, I was there myself, it was the absolute hardest basic training the Army has ever had. In order to be able to get through that, he obviously had to have something. He had to be motivated at some point in his career. He had to be focused at some point in his career. He had to be willing to get the job done at some point in his career. Your job, Sergeant, is to find that spark, and specifically the word that he used. Find that spark, because deep down, the potential is there. Something in between the time that he left Fort Benning, Georgia, until now, where I would agree his actions are less than soldier, like a soldier would want. Somewhere, something changed. Could have been his choice, could have been outside influences, but your job is to find that spark and reignite that spark. He's got potential. Viktor Frankl is talking about if we want to not reach our potential, or not reach our potential as humans, or not reach our potential as citizens, then our goal should be status quo. What's status quo mean? Raise your hand and then I'll call on you. I'd like to have somebody else answer that. I know that you know it. Taylor, what's status quo?
Basically to set yourself to high standard.
Status quo is high standards? Nope. Yes?
Status quo is like social order, how things are going at the time and place.
Status quo is how it is right now. Just maintain the same. If we want to guarantee our failure, then we need to just keep doing what we're doing. Okay? Or shoot for what we're doing now. And Viktor Frankl says, no matter what the situation, even if what you're doing now is down here, if that's all you strive to do, then you're going to fail to even achieve your own low standards. Okay? But if, on the other hand, we expect more, we shoot for higher, we strive for a higher, or we motivate others to be better than what they are now, then we will do fine. Okay? The one thing that I want to stress in all of this, in reading this book and what we're talking about, is it's very easy to become discouraged. Either you lose control, and this is a great example. It's very easy to become discouraged the first time you lose control of your emotions. Okay, or you're out of control, or you're not able to be proactive. It's very easy to get discouraged and say, well, clearly this is a crock. Okay, it's very easy to lose focus. It's very easy to become discouraged in your faith. Okay, if you do something wrong, and it's very easy to just walk away from it completely, become discouraged, and just give up. Well, that's not what we need as a society. That's not what, based upon your faith, that's not what your Creator wants for you. It's not what your coach wants you to do, is to just give up at the first sign of problems. How you deal with animosity, how you deal with adversity, determines whether or not you're going to be successful or not. And that's what Covey is saying. You control it. You have to identify it. The next habit that we're going to be talking about is begin with an end in mind. If your goal is to be that 16% and just make a bunch more money, okay, that's probably not the greatest goal in the world. Okay, if your goal is to find the meaning of life, you may not put it that way, but, right, like 73% or 83% or what number you used, then you need to shoot higher. You need to set your goals higher. And that's what Covey's saying, that's what Viktor Frankl's saying, that's what I'm saying, is figure out what you want to do, figure out what, and even if you don't think you're capable of doing it right now, if you follow some of the tenets in this book, you'll be amazed how far you can go. Just like I told you, I don't know how many times during the school year, if you don't think you can go to a 4-year college or you can't afford it, all right, maybe that's the case, but don't give up on it. Let's figure out a way of doing it. Well, let's talk about it. Let's find you some money. Let's find somebody who can find you some money. You know, don't give up on it because you'd be surprised what's available out there. If your goal is to have a meaningful career, okay, now is the time to make that happen, and hopefully this course will help you do that. If you want to become an IT professional, I'll give you another lame story, okay? So 1986, none of you were alive at that time. 1986, I was working for a company in the name of, no, I'm sorry, it wouldn't have been that. It would have been 93 or 94. I was working for a company in the name of Computerland. I was in sales. I was doing well, but not great. I certainly wasn't achieving what I wanted to achieve for my family, which was and I'm not saying my motivations were pure back then. I wanted to provide more for my family. I wanted to make more money. I wanted to have nice things. I wanted to go, I was okay, but back then my motivation was at a much higher level. And so I was in sales and I was doing okay, but I was limited by what I wanted to do. So I said, you know what, I'm a relatively smart guy, okay? I should be able to do better. What can I do to make this situation better? And at that time I said, you know, I think the future in my industry, IT at the time, is not in sales, because people are becoming smarter and smarter all the time, and they can make some of these decisions for what I'm selling, which is personal computers, on their own. Even businesses are getting people on staff who can make those, you know, do that evaluation themselves, which is what I was primarily doing. So at that time, I realized that networking, I realized that consultative sales was the way to go. So I decided that the company that I was working with, which had 3 locations, we were strictly, you walk into our company and we'll take care of you and we'll sell you what you need. We needed to be outbound. I was mowing the lawn in Argus, Indiana. I just remember it to this day. So in order for me to achieve my goals and to make this company achieve its goals, I need to get technically certified. That was it. It was an epiphany. It just happened that day. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. And so from that point forward, as I built up the technical certifications, those dreams, those goals started happening, okay? Set myself apart from the rest of the company, had some great ideas about how they could do sales. We created a group called the Advanced Systems Group, which was engineers and salespeople working together, going out to companies and recommending to them what they need, and it just worked out. And from that, then I formed, after I got the guts to do it, by using Covey's principles and effectively putting those habits into my own life, then I started my own company on the same premise, and it has been very, very successful for us. So all I'm saying here is you have to set the bar high. Even if you don't feel that you're successful right now, it doesn't matter. Forget it. From this point forward, you're in control of this. You're entirely within control of this. How you deal with this right now is going to determine how successful you are going down the road. How many have heard this before? You're completely in control of your own destiny. Where have you heard this? Johnny. What?
Gym teacher.
Who is it?
It was way back.
Way back when, gym teacher.
Yeah, like
Did you buy it then?
Yeah.
Who else had their hand up? Yes, who? Okay. Austin. Who'd you hear from?
This is when I first decided I wanted to make a YouTube channel, so I was like launching motivational speeches people read on the internet, saying that you can be an entrepreneur.
Okay. Who else? Michael.
You.
Yeah. Well, you've heard it before. For me, no question. It's like a never-ending record, like one that you don't even know what a record is. Yes. Who?
Mr. Jennings.
Mr. Jennings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, there's a. Whether you listen to him or not, or whether you believe him or not, there's a guy that I wish I were around him to get motivation from him. He is a squared away individual. I've always had a great deal of respect for him. He is smart, strong faith. He's walked the walk. Absolutely. Yes?
I was learning from Colonel Foe.
Who?
Colonel Foe.
Colonel Foe. Michael's referring to one of my best friends who, skinny, kind of homely, high school, was a long distance runner, decided to apply to West Point, got to West Point, was ready to quit West Point because it was so hard, And then Colonel Glenn, can't think of his last name, who was his academic advisor and counselor, pulled him off to the side and talked him into sticking it out and trying to figure out what he wanted to do in life. Ended up retiring as a colonel. Got out of West Point, went to the Army, served 8 years in combat, some of that, as an advisor to the Turks, fighting the Kurds. Saw some stuff. After 8 years, had a family, decided he wanted to get out of the Army to pursue a career in engineering, which is what his degree was in. Worked a year at age 31 or 32. Well, let me think. So he got out of West Point at 20, or at 22, 8 years. So he's 30 years old, spent a year working for Caterpillar as an engineer, hated it. So got together with his wife and said, you know what, I want to be a doctor. So went another 6 years to school, to college, became a surgeon, orthopedic surgeon, and now he's at the top of his career, making tons of money and is very, very happy. So yeah, there's a great example. There's an excellent example. Okay, you've heard it before, it's nothing new, but what I want you to take out of it is your approach to that is absolutely critical. Everyone knows you've got to shoot high, but what Covey is doing is giving you some tools to achieve that. Okay, you know where you're at now. You know where you're at now. You want to shoot high, and we're going to help you define that high. What is that specifically? And that's what Covey's saying. It's a little bit different than maybe what you've been told before. He's saying put this down into words. Write it down, review it, modify it if necessary, but identify it, exactly what it is that you want. And that will change as you get older. But at least identify it, specify it, and review it on a regular basis. And then all the other habits between be proactive and sharpen the saw are how to achieve those goals and to make them habits. He gives you a formula. He gives you a recipe, step by step, and all the ingredients necessary to achieve success. Now, are there other readings? Are there other tools that you can use to achieve those? Absolutely. But at least that gets you started. Yes, Austin?
I remember whose speech it was.
Whose?
Bernie Burns.
Bernie Burns.
Probably you guys probably know who it is. Talking about how Bridget Seed was created and how.
Okay. All right, are there any questions about be proactive, about Viktor Frankl? Okay. What time is it? Go ahead and stop the video. Don't forget, Thursday we have a test.